Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Journeys with Joe. Today is Monday, May 10th, 2021. I hope that you all had a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. I really enjoyed yesterday with my parents, and I made nice ribs and vegetables for dinner, and we had a really nice time sitting around and enjoying that and watching the golf tournament on television. And I just wanted to share with you today a few things that I think are important. First of all, something that I've learned. Second, a healthy and happy habit. And third, a little bit of soapbox time, as is the format so far for this show. And please give me any feedback if you would like to see anything different. The first thing I'd like to talk about is a concept that I read about in Pastor Rick Warren's book, The Purpose-Driven Life. And the concept is the idea of speaking the truth in love. And what this basically means is that you are honest with other people, but you do so in a loving manner, and that you speak from the heart, and that you're not rude. It's not about being blunt or pushing people or being a jerk. It's about saying what needs to be said, but saying it in such a way that makes people not feel defensive and to not be put into a corner where they feel like they have to push back upon you. A really good example of this happened this weekend. I was talking to my parents about some furniture investigation that I've been doing for a new house that I am moving into in October, and I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed, to be honest, because I had gone to see a whole bunch of pieces and I was thinking about everything. I was having a hard time remembering everything that I saw, and I was being asked questions about it, and I kind of gave somewhat of a flip answer. My mom just said, "Don't be defensive," and she kind of got me to let down my guard a little bit and explain, yeah, I'm a little bit overwhelmed and I'm seeing all these things and I can't really remember everything, but I can tell you a little bit about what I didn't like as opposed to necessarily what I liked. And then from there, we had this wonderful conversation for about the next hour and a half about everything there was to do with a new house, with in terms of design and colors. And I got so much out of the conversation. And all that we had to do was to be honest with each other. And I just had to say, look, I'm a little bit insecure because I've got all this on my mind right now. And she just had to say, you're being defensive and you don't need to be defensive. This is something that we can talk through. And we ended up talking through it. It was really a wonderful experience. And so I think the concept of speaking the truth in love is such an important one. And I think a lot of us tend to be very political. And when I say political, I don't necessarily mean left versus right. What I mean is more of we try to couch what we need to say in such a way that the other side is going to not really get the gist of what we're trying to say. And I think that it's important that we be honest, that we not be rude, but we try to say things in a loving and caring manner and make sure that we're still making our point. The next thing that I would like to share with you is a happy habit that I have. Every morning I pray. In the morning, the first thing I do is I think in my head of some silent intentions, and they generally are around my closest family and friends. And then what I will do is I pray for several things. First of all, I give thanks to God for watching over me as I slept and for the gift of the day that I have. I ask God to bless my family, my friends, everybody I work with, and everybody who makes possible the life that I enjoy. And those are people that you don't really think about every day necessarily, but the people who drive groceries to the grocery store, the people who work out on the lines, the people who keep the plumbing working. There's a lot of people who work to make the life that you live possible. And it's really important to think about those people. I also ask to be forgiven for anything that I do or I fail to do, and also to help me forgive others who fail to do things or do things against me. And then I ask God to guide me to be the best man that I can possibly be. And that if he happens to call me home, that I enter his kingdom in peace with both him and the world. And I also at the end give praise to God, saying that it is his will that will be done on earth, and that his is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. And I find this is a really good centering exercise, very first thing in the morning, that really gets my day going on the right foot. The final thing I'd like to talk about is just a little bit of a soapbox. And right now there are a lot of choices being offered to people. And there are people who are making choices and have very good reasons for and against the choices that they make. And people, when it comes to some of these very personal choices, they come up with their own reasons. And I think that we need to respect each other's choices and to not harangue each other, not harass each other. There's a really good quote, one of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, is assume that the other person that you're listening to knows something that you don't. And nobody can really know what's in anybody else's heart. And what is important to know about that is that psychiatrists, psychologists try to understand people's intentions. And if they can't necessarily guess somebody's intentions, then who are we as mere mortal human beings? And so it's really important that we understand and empathize with other people and respect why people make the choices that they make in terms of their own health and their own life, and to try not to push ourselves on other people, because that is violating somebody's autonomy. It's going to make them feel defensive, and you're really not going to go anywhere. It's going to divide people rather than unite people. That's all I have for today. I hope that you have a wonderful week. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of your morning and try to make it as good of a day as possible.